Who? Yeah, this is public session, so anybody who logs in can. All right, we are now live, so
Okay.
thank you for your patience. Hi, Quinn.
Tell us when, Nan.
Yep. Let's see here. We are missing quite a few folks. Oh boy. Okay. Okay, give us 1 second. We're having one more problem.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we're ready to start. Thanks for your patience.
Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. We are in public session for board meeting of Temple University, Tuesday, March 16th, approximately 4 o'clock. My name is Mitchell Morgan. I'm the chairman of the board, and I'm going to turn this over to our president, Richard Enright.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Jessica Jackson is one of our dedicated Temple University hospital physicians. She helped oversee the testing of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine at Temple University Hospital. A few weeks ago, Dr. Jackson was being interviewed on TV. When she was asked about the impact of the vaccine, she didn't even hesitate. She said, "This has the potential to be a game changer for the world." Changing the world for the better. That's what Temple University has been doing since Russell Conwell opened our doors more than 135 years ago. Our impact on North Philadelphia, on this great city, on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and on the world has never been more evident than during the COVID-19 pandemic. When the call went out from the city for a large facility that could be fitted out as a surge hospital, Temple eagerly stepped up and offered the Liacouras Center. Now, more than 9 months later, the Liacouras Center is once again at the heart of the effort to fight the pandemic as the North Philadelphia base for the Black Doctors Consortium. International news teams have covered the remarkable scenes of people lined up all night to get into the Liacouras Center and become protected against the virus. We are proudly offering this vital service to our community. Even today, I looked out there and there are lines down Broad Street as Philadelphians receive vaccinations from the valiant Black Doctors Consortium. We make the Leocora Center available at no cost, since we pay for the setup and cleanup of the facility. As I reflect on the past 12 months, I have been very impressed by the number of times Temple's doctors, nurses, faculty, staff, and students have similarly come forward and done amazing work to keep our university, our neighbors, and our city safe. Let me cite just a very few examples. Our health system has been at the forefront of the treatment and care for COVID patients in this region. Temple people have become involved in launching a food packing and delivery service to support our North Philadelphia neighbors who are facing food insecurity during this pandemic. Providing services such as mass production and distribution, assisting the elderly with their prescriptions, getting school-age students reliable internet access, distribution of public health materials, and educating organizations about how to successfully reopen in today's economic environment. Researchers from throughout the university and the health system have been conducting dozens and dozens of studies on treatments, vaccines, and related topics. Their research findings will not only be important in the continuing effort against COVID, but will lead to better treatments in lung diseases, and they will help us become better prepared for the next potential pandemic. Temple experts have become recognized national thought leaders in the media in explaining the impact of the disease, its treatments, and how we can all keep ourselves safe. And over the past few months, a new laboratory was developed at the Lewis Katz School of Medicine, which can run up to 20,000 COVID tests per week with a high level of accuracy and results becoming available normally within 24 hours. At each step of the way, we have built safeguards for the university's community, and we have worked diligently to protect our neighbors. The dedication of Temple people continues to pay off day after day. Let me now turn to the future. As we have already announced, we are planning for a fall semester that is primarily in person, with a substantial number of students returning to campus, with a broad range of in-person classes, and with numerous faculty and student and staff members on site to support our students. We expect to provide a vibrant campus experience with our residence halls, our dining halls, our student center, and academic buildings, as well as our athletic and recreational facilities, all open this fall. So there are reasons, many reasons to be hopeful. Vaccine production continues to ramp up, and there are more distribution options opening each week. And along these lines, Temple is working with the city of Philadelphia on our own vaccine plans. And we hope the university will become a point of distribution for both the Temple community and for the city residents in the very near future. And I'm happy to say that prospective students have heard this announcement and that interest in the fall semester at Temple University remains very positive, and we look forward to a strong and diverse first-year class. So my optimism for the future also extends to our efforts on behalf of the local communities we serve. Temple's commitment to our neighbors does not stop at our extensive service regarding the COVID pandemic. We recognize that the health of a community depends not just on medical and healthcare. Temple physicians and faculty know that there are many social determinants that are central to good health. And no social determinants are more fundamental than family supporting jobs. In partnership with the Lenfest Foundation, And with their very generous support, this university has mounted a broad initiative to support workforce development and job placement for North Philadelphians. The LenFest Foundation has provided over $9 million since 2018 to assist Temple and numerous partner organizations to prepare our neighbors for and to place them in family supporting jobs. With this support as a base, the university is committed to continuing to ensure that this workforce initiative is sustainable in the long term. The university commits its own dollars and will raise additional dollars from governmental agencies, other foundations, corporations, and individual donors to broaden our workforce initiatives throughout North Philadelphia. Our goal is to link our neighbors with job opportunities within the university, within our health system, and within numerous partner organizations and companies, both ones we do business with and other partners. To ensure that these efforts last for decades to come, the Board of Trustees today is establishing the LenFest Center for Community Workforce Partnerships. This center will provide a permanent home for these activities that are at the heart of the Temple mission. I want to thank the LenFest Board, particularly Trustee Marguerite LenFest and Keith Liepert, for their support of this vital initiative. Creating opportunities for sustainable jobs for our North Philadelphia neighbors is a goal I know we all support, and that this board especially supports. That goal is achievable because of the faith the LenFest Foundation has in Temple to make a real difference in the lives of our neighbors. Let me close by once again thanking all of our trustees for your support for Temple's mission during these difficult times. I know this past year has not been easy, but your leadership and guidance, coupled with the extraordinary efforts of Temple's great faculty, physicians, nurses, staff, and students, have been historic. And add to that the support of our great alumni and donors. In all of my 45 years of being associated with Temple, I've never been prouder of this university than I am now. The people of Temple University always rise to the challenge, time and again, and they have repeatedly inspired me over the year. Temple University has a bright future ahead. Thank you to all of you. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dick. Let's start with the approval of the minutes of December 8th. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
So move.
Second.
Motion moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 1, and who's going to do that?
Dick, I will read that into the record and then
Great.
You guys can approve it. So, the resolution for the LenFest Foundation. Whereas for many years, Temple University of the Commonwealth System of Higher Education has had an outstanding working relationship and partnership with the LenFest Foundation, including the Foundation's generous support of the LenFest North Philadelphia Workforce Initiative, which is focused on preparing members of our community for careers and helping them secure jobs and family-sustaining wages. Whereas the university considers the collaboration with the LenFest Foundation as a foundational pillar of the university's support for its North Philadelphia neighborhood. Now, therefore, it be resolved that in recognition of the significance of job training, workforce development, and the broad-ranging personal and societal benefits that accrue from these efforts, and in honor of the legacy and commitment of H.F. Jerry and Marguerite LenFest, the LenFest Foundation, and the Foundation's dedicated board and staff, the Board of Trustees of Temple University in regular session assembled on the 16th day of March 2021 hereby approves the establishment of the LenFest Center for Community Workforce Partnerships, a unit organized for the purpose of and dedicated to sustaining the accomplishments of the Foundation and the university into the future, and express its deep appreciation and commend the LenFest Foundation for its outstanding contribution to Temple University.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. let's move on to the, and I guess if I could ask if everyone could mute their system unless they're talking, that would be helpful. We have a lot of background noise. Great, we're moving to the standing committees. Committee for Trustee Affairs, Patrick O'Connor.
Dan is actually going to read that.
Okay, great. Dan Paulette. Dan, thank you, Dan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The second recommendation of the Committee on Trustee Affairs and the Commonwealth Appointing Authorities is that the Board of Trustees re-elect Brett Perkins for a term effective immediately through October of 2024 to the Board of Trustees of Temple University of the Commonwealth System of Higher Education in accordance with the bylaws of Temple University, and I so move.
Second.
Having a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the next item, Mr. Chairman, and it's our third recommendation, is that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution in memoriam of Trustee Ronald R. Donatucci as specified in Agenda Reference 3, and I so move.
Second.
Having a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dan. Moving to the Executive Committee, Trustee Richards.
Borrowing authority, upon motion duly made and seconded, the Board of Trustees authorizes the officers to borrow for operating purposes of the university $30 million on terms which the officers believe best for the university, such authority to cover the period from through as set forth in Agenda Reference 3.
Move it.
I so
Move
move.
it.
Having moved,
Second.
is it Agenda Reference 3 or 5, Ann?
It is Agenda Reference 5. The Executive Committee report is number 4.
Okay. Having a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Moving to Budget and Finance, Lou Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have one recommendation for action. I'll read that. Excuse me, that the Board of Trustees, upon recommendations from the Budget and Finance Committee and the Student Life and Diversity Committee, approve an average increase of approximately 2.9% in the university student housing costs for 2021-2022. And this is set forth more fully in Agenda Reference 7, and I so move.
Second.
Having a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes our report.
Thank you, Lou. Moving to Alumni Relations. I don't think Trustee Barrick is here. Ann, you going to take this?
No, Paul Crusillo is going to.
Paul's going to take it.
Paul, please, as Vice Chair.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, thank you, Mitch. Mr. Chairman, I pleased to report the Alumni Relations and Development Committee met with Chair Leonard Barrick yesterday, and our report is Agenda Item 8, and we have the following recommendations for actions. Agenda Item 9, the establishment of an endowed fund in the Fox School of Business. The Alumni Relations and Development Committee recommends that the Board of Trustees accepts a gift, and the Gift Acceptance Committee suggests to approve the establishment of an endowed fund in the Fox School of Business as set forth in this Agenda Reference 9. So I make a motion.
Having a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Recommendation for action, Agenda Reference 10, the establishment of an endowed professorship in the Beasley School of Law. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees, upon the recommendation of the Alumni Relations and Development Committee and the Gift Acceptance Committee, approve the establishment of an endowed professorship in the Beasley School of Law as set forth in Agenda Reference 10. A
Have a motion? I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next is the establishment of a center in the Klein College of Media and Communications. It's the recommendation that the Board of Trustees, recommended by the Alumni Relations Development Committee and the Gift Acceptance Committee, approves the establishment of a center in the Lou Klein College of Media and Communications as set forth in Agenda Reference 11. and we make a motion for that.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And our final recommendation, item 12, approval of a named space in the College of Liberal Arts. And we recommend that the Board of Trustees, upon the recommendations of the Alumni Relations and Development Committee and the Gift Acceptance Committee, approve the naming of a director's office in the College of Liberal Arts as set forth in Agenda Reference 12. Can I
Have a
make a
second?
motion?
Motion and a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes our recommendations and report for the Alumni Relations and Development Committee.
Thank you, Paul. Moving to academic affairs, Chip Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the report of the Academic Affairs Committee is found at Agenda Reference 13. We have a few recommendations for action. Number 14, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Academic Affairs Committee that the officers be authorized to transfer the tenure of various faculty in the Lewis Katz School of Medicine as further set forth in Agenda Reference 14.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item, item 15. Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Academic Affairs Committee that the officers be authorized to establish an optional concentration in interdisciplinary studies for the Bachelor of Science in Music Technology in the Boyer College of Music and Dance as further set forth in Agenda Reference 15.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item, item 16. Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Academic Affairs Committee that the officers be authorized to establish various curricula in the College of Science and Technology as further set forth in Agenda Reference 16.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item, number 17. Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Academic Affairs Committee that the officers be authorized to restructure the Master of Education in Secondary Education in the College of Education and Human Development as further set forth in Agenda Reference 17.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And our final recommendation, number 18, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Academic Affairs Committee that the officers be authorized to rename various curricula in the Beasley School of Law as further set forth in Agenda Reference 18.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And that concludes the report of the Academic Affairs Committee, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Marshall. Moving to Facilities Committee, Trustee Cardino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move item number 20, that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Facilities Committee that the officers be authorized to proceed with the Ritter Hall capital improvement construction. I so move.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Chairman. I move item number 21, that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Facilities Committee that the officers be authorized to proceed with the Leocoris Walk South Hardscape and Landscape Improvements Project at a cost not to exceed $8 million.
Second.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move item 22, that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Facilities Committee that the officers be authorized to proceed with the Speakman Hall Capital Interior Renovations Construction Project Phase 2. I so move.
second,
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Facilities Committee that the officers be authorized to proceed with the Anderson Gladfelter Center for Anti-Racism Africology Department. I so move.
Second.
second,
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move item number 24, that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Facilities Committee that the officers be authorized to proceed with the main Carnell Hall renovation, rooms 115 and 216 construction. I so move.
second,
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
aye,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move item number 25, that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation of the Facilities Committee that officers be authorized to proceed with the Schusterman interior renovations and infrastructure sprinkler improvements. I so move.
second,
Second.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
aye,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And my final motion is the revised policy for use of university facilities by external groups. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the recommendation. I so move.
second,
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
aye,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes the facilities report.
Thank you. Moving to the committees for a report, number 27, I think, Ann, you're going to take that one?
I am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Athletics Committee met yesterday, March 15th, and the report and on their briefings can be found in tab 27.
Thank you. Number 28, Trustee Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on Strategic Direction and Long-Range Planning's quarterly report can be found at agenda reference 28. There are no action items at this time.
Thank you. Number 29, Trustee Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Compliance Committee met yesterday to review legal and compliance matters and other confidential matters. There are no action items to report.
Thank you. Number 30, Ann, you're going to take this one?
And thank you. The report of the Government Relations and External Affairs Committee, which met yesterday, March 15th, may be found at tab 30.
Thank you. Report 31, Trustee McNichol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Investment Committee met in both December of 2020 and February of 2021. Our report is included as agenda reference 31, and there are no action items.
Thank you. Number 32, Trustee Mueller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Research Committee met today and received an update on the progress of the Temple University Research Enterprise. There are no action items. And Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Number 33, Trustee Diaz.
Our report is found in section 33, and I believe you've already approved the recommendation that was made by the Student Life and Diversity Committee of the 2.9% increase on the university housing that we approved. So I don't think an additional motion is necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you
Trustee Diaz.
thank you.
Thank you. Number 34, Trustee Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The report of the Temple University Health System is found at agenda reference 34. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to the officers report, treasurer's report, Ken Kaiser.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The recommendation is that the investment reports for the 3 months ended December 31st, 2020, and grants and contracts awarded between October 1st, 2020 and December 31st, 2020 be received. Said report being included and identified as set forth in agenda reference number 35.
So moved.
So moved.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Secretary's report, Ann Nadol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the degrees in course dated on or around May 6, 2021 to candidates approved by the appropriate academic committees of the faculty, and the degrees in course dated May 6, 2021 and presented on June 6, 2021 to candidates approved by the appropriate academic committees of the faculty in Tokyo. And that degrees for the schools of podiatry, medicine, dentistry, law, medicine, and podiatric medicine, dentistry, law, medicine, and pharmacy students who regularly complete their studies in May shall be dated May 10th for podiatric medicine, May 6th for dentistry and pharmacy, May 20 for law, and May 7 for medicine.
So moved.
Having a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ann. Moving to our guest speaker, the president of Temple Student Government, someone who I've gotten to know really well, who's on the presidential search committee, Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the end of the student body, most of what I have to report out on is optimistic, which is admittedly a nice change of pace given the past year. The warm weather last week was a reminder for students what the Temple community is, as hundreds of students flock to campus to enjoy the sunlight in a socially distanced fashion. More and more of my peers are getting vaccinated every day, which is great news for what the fall may bring. While the financial and mental health issues the pandemic has brought onto us are still very real, it seems that the light at the end of the tunnel is getting very close. There are two concerns that I'd use my floor time today to draw attention to. Firstly, given that this is my last report out to you all before I leave office in April, and this conversation will be had after I've left, I would encourage the board to do everything in their power, as I know they will, to keep tuition flat for the 2021-2022 school year, particularly in consideration of the fact that FAFSA for the fall of 2021 will use 2019 pre-pandemic tax information at a time of skyrocketing household income loss. Tuition affordability has never been a more salient issue for students. Secondly, I would encourage the board to be cognizant of the issue of course cap increases when comparing the 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 school years. The number of students in classes on average appears to have gone up within the past year at Temple, and with the looming potential for cuts at schools and colleges for the 2021-2022 school year, this too is a salient issue. If this trend continues, very gradually as it may be, the quality of education received by Temple students in classrooms will be diminished. On those notes, it has been a pleasure working with you folks, and I thank you all very much for your dedication to the Temple community. Thank you all for listening to my voice throughout the year, and I hope this continues to be a space for student advocacy long after I'm gone. It's been a very challenging year, but one that nonetheless has made me more proud to be a Temple Owl.
Thank you, Quinn, and good luck to you in your future, and good luck on your graduation. And we all enjoyed working with you.
Thank you very much.
That concludes our motions and our reports. Is there any old or new business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, everyone, and hopefully our next board meeting will be in person.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Everyone stay safe.
Aye.
Thank you.
Right on.